You're going to turn on the cameras, Mr.
I'm going to call to order this regular meeting of the Public Safety, Civil Rights, and Emergency Management Committee meeting today. It's June 18th, 2014. I'm Councilmember Blong Yang, Chair of the committee. With me today are Council Members Paul Mazzano, Vice Chair Cam Gordon, Councilmember Abdi Warsame, and President Barbara Johnson. We have 5 items on the agenda today. 4 of those items are consent items, and the 5th item is a discussion item. And I will just note the discussion item is on the issue of authorizing a contract agreement with Minneapolis Special School District 1 to receive $1,060,000 in funds for providing school resources officers in designated district schools. And this will also be referred to the Ways and Means Committee. And with us today is Commander Fulkins. And we're going to cover the consent item real quick, if that's okay. The first item is the Minneapolis Commission on Civil Rights to confirm the mayoral appointments of Amy Bergquist, Thomas Gallagher, Mitra Nelson, Christine Peters, Michael Farr, Wendy Adler Robinson. The item for B is to approve council appointments of Elizabeth Loeb. And C is to approve technical corrections in term appointments for Arlene Santiago, Lonnie Nichols, Laban Abdul Kadir, Idris Altamirano, Laura Baldwin, Rianne Viken, and Donald Joseph. And this is for us to set a public hearing for July 9th, 2014 at 1:30 p.m. The second item is to authorize a contract with the Downtown Improvement District to receive funds totaling $22,000 for police officer support of the Downtown Summer Community Engagement Pilot and to approve appropriation increase. This will also go to Ways and Means. The third item is to authorize contract amendment for Hennepin County Sheriff for jail fees for police detainees estimated for 2014 at $1,966,908, and to authorize any documents necessary to effectuate the agreement, and this would also go to Ways and Means. The fourth item is to authorize a contract agreement with Hennepin County 4th District Court for $43,000 for a 1-year period for police department to provide drug court research and monitoring services and serving as liaison between the police department and the court. And with the 4 consent items, council members, any questions? Anybody want to pull anything off for discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The motion carries. All right, the 5th item, the discussion item, Commander Fulkins.
Good morning, or afternoon now it is. I'm just here to talk a little bit about the value of the school resource officers to the city of Minneapolis. It's our best chance and our best efforts to engage students in the school system on a one-on-one basis with qualified officers who know how to engage and mentor these students. The best examples I can give are things like we have a Kid Connect program with the school resource officers. The school resource officers are identifying at-risk kids or the kids that are just kind of teetering back and forth on being good kids and bad kids. During summer breaks, winter breaks, holidays, our officers are going out to their homes and connecting with these kids, connecting with their parents, showing them that the police department and the city of Minneapolis cares about the direction that their kids are going, and it's been really well received. The officers are getting numerous calls from these parents, thanking them, asking for advice on how to direct their sons and daughters in a positive direction. Another case that really illustrates the value to the department on having this connection with the youth of Minneapolis is there was the well-publicized assault robbery of a young female out in South Minneapolis that was captured, and the video was put on YouTube. The officer of that school was approached early that morning by one of the students that they have made connections with. And that student actually brought to the officer a copy or the video on his phone and said, "Have you seen this? This is really bad, and I think we know who it is." Before the case was even assigned, we had identified people to hold those kids accountable for the actions they did in that robbery. Without having that engagement with the students in the school system, that case could have languished on for a long time. And because we have those officers there, it was done within hours. That case was solved. Is there any questions that I can answer about the program from members?
Councilmember Gordon.
Thank you very much. I was just curious right now, how many schools, I know that all the high schools, I think, have resource officers, but I understand middle schools and even some of the K-8 schools.
We assigned 16 officers to the program.
And does the school district then assign the schools that they go to?
That's a collaborative effort that we work with the schools under the set criteria of all the high schools we want to have a school resource officer seated. And then what happens, the extra officers then go through the middle schools and K through 8. But every school resource officer also has what we call feeder schools, schools that can call that officer to come to their school to help them with any problems that the school administration feels that they need help with at those schools. So they do get that same officer contact with an individual officer to build those relationships.
Well, I just want to note how fantastic I think this program is. When we were involved in writing our youth violence prevention plan, this is one of the things that we identified would make sense. At that time, I believe these services were provided by the Park Police, and we saw that as putting us at a disadvantage in terms of identifying needy kids, being able to intervene, and also just building positive relations with police officers and some of these kids so that they could turn to us for help. And I know that some of the officers in particular have great reputations in their communities, and I remember how hearing about how on weekends and during the summer they go back out there to kind of work the beat or do the home visits like you talked about and check on those kids, so that I think it gave a real signal that they were cared about and
We had
well.
an Officer Kirchen, who does our bike cop for kids, and he's transferring to the 1st Precinct to work in the Cedar Riverside neighborhoods. The outpouring of gratitude, yes, they are sorry to see him leave his school, but the support that he gets from that school for all the great work that he did at that school, and quite honestly, it turned out to a great media story to shed really the city in a great light, and the police department in a great light with how we're trying to outreach to these kids.
President Johnson.
I'm sorry, I've got a cold. What do those offers of help to feeder schools, do they go to actually feeder schools or relationships to the charter schools in Minneapolis? I'm curious about that, because in North Minneapolis, half of the kids don't attend public schools. What relationship do we have with the charter schools?
Technically, they're not fed by the Minneapolis public school system, but because of the relationships these cops in our SRO program, a lot of them are also involved in the PAL program also. They will respond to help calls for help just out of kind of, hey, it's the right thing to do.
Okay. So the charter schools would have contact information to call and a school resource officer.
And with the school resource sergeant, Sergeant Barry is very responsive to all schools' needs when it comes to these type of cases.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to say also, Officer Kirchen leaving North Minneapolis, Lucy Kraft-Laney, is a big loss, and he'll be very hard to replace. But I also think it's important to say that these officers then spend their summers patrolling or bike patrolling, and people are asking in the community, when am I going to see Mike again? So it's a real resource for us, and I really appreciate the work they do.
Thank you. I appreciate the comments.
Councilmember Warsame.
Now, I was going to ask the same question about the charter school, so Council President asked the question. And I also like to thank you for this program, because the diversion programs are very important especially in Ward 6. And we appreciate everything that you do and continue the good work.
And to the council, thank you for your support in this. That is the message I'm going to bring back to our school resource officers in mass and individually. The support that the council sees in the value. Quite honestly, in the selection process, we are looking for that certain oomph in the officers that we put there that really have a great way of connecting with kids. So I'm going to bring that back to them, the council support. I really do appreciate everybody.
Councilmember Gordon?
And I just have one small question or clarification to make sure that I understand the
Yes, sir.
funding correctly. So the school district gives us a fairly large contract. I don't remember the exact figure, but I guess my question is, and here it is right here, it's over $1 million. Does that actually cover all our costs, or are we kind of underbidding this so we can get this work, and do we have to subsidize it from our general fund?
We do, as program support to the mission of the school resource officer, we do support it by about roughly 30% of the costs.
Well, I appreciate that. I think it's a valuable thing to do, and we certainly want to support our schools, and it's allowing us to be able to then make sure that the communities are safer. So I think that that's reasonable. I did just want to highlight that as we're saying how much we support it. It's not just rhetoric. We're actually putting money where our mouths are.
Most certainly, sir.
Any other questions? Commander, I just wanted to echo the comments of President Johnson in this regard that my 6-year-old child goes to kindergarten at Lucy Craft Laney, and she sees Officer Mike pretty much every day. And he's just been a great resource to the school, but also to the north side. And we're going to miss him quite a bit, and hopefully anybody that replaces him will just be as good, if not better. So thank you.
Thank you. I think we have the momentum to keep pushing forward with his leadership and leaving that legacy behind.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So with that presentation, I'm going to move that we approve, right? Just okay. That we approve and authorize this contract agreement. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. Seeing that there's no further business before this committee, we are going to be adjourning this meeting. Thank you.